Alright everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over the build review of this high-grade Zephyranthes. I built this kit the other day and I took a lot of notes on it and what I thought were great talking points, what I thought were pros, cons, things to note, and do I recommend this kit. And I want to go ahead and go over those points, and I want to do it in such a way that it's informative, and that way you can make the best decision for yourself if you want to go and buy this kit or not. And so I want to just go and start as much as I can technically on this kit. And let me grab my pointing stick. And so here at the legs, what I want to say is that these legs and the feet, even though this kit is now 25 years old, 25, isn't that incredible? 25 years old, and it looks this good. I know it's gunpla, I know there's color separation. Anyway, 25 years old and it still looks great. But going back to this, despite this kit being that age, I do like the way that these legs built up. Do I like all these separation of the panels? No, not particularly. Could I fill them in? Sure. Is it a pro? Is it a con? No, I don't think it's a con, because this is kind of the thing that you saw back then. But the way that the leg builds up, I do believe is very much a pro, because it is solid. It does produce a very stable and solid foundation for this kit to stand on, despite its age. And albeit, and I'll say it, I dare to say it, that it is better than some real grades out there to some degree, even for its basic construction. That is my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. You might disagree with me, and that's fine. Getting further along into this kit, I wanted to go over the torso and the waist unit. These are this is going to be a very, very straightforward review. So we're not going to be getting into a lot of rambling, although that's what I'm doing right now. But let's go ahead and get back into it. So the waist unit and the torso seem to be on the same page during the build out on the manual. And so what's nice about this, it's just simple. It's a very simple and straightforward construction. There's nothing about this that requires a lot of elaboration or detail or fiddling with small parts. It is just a very straightforward 6 pieces here of the waist, about 8 pieces here of the torso, and it's done. Nothing crazy, just very straightforward and simple. And I like it that way. So that for me is very much a pro, though there is one very, very blatant nitpick that I want to get onto later. The head unit here it's just a head unit. It's like any other high grade, and it's incredibly easy to construct. Although looking at the eyes, if you can see the eyes here, if y'all have ever watched Space Ghost Coast to Coast, the eyes kind of look like that character Brack. So if y'all have ever watched that show, that's what these look like. It reminds me of Brack when I was even taking them off the sticker template. It very much reminded me of that character, and I felt like I had to bring that up. Most of y'all might not know who that character is, but that's fine. And so we'll go on to further into this video. And so we'll go into the arms here. What I like about the arms is that even for a kit this old, there is some good articulation here. We saw with the Zaku 3, there wasn't a whole lot there with the articulation. And we saw with the Zaku 3, there wasn't a whole lot that you could really do with it. But here with the Zephyranthes and this Gundam, and maybe it's just because it's different. This is a Gundam and that's Zaku, I don't know. But with this kit specifically, since it came out in the same year, I will say there's a lot more articulation here in the arms than I saw in that Zaku 3. You get a full 360-degree spin here in the shoulder. You get that same level of spin here with the bicep, and then you get, I wouldn't say great articulation, but you get a pretty decent articulation here at the shoulder joint. And the hands, of course, they have a little bit of mobility up and down, and then they spin all around like you would typically see in most high grades. But for a 25-year-old kit, I think it was actually pretty good. You're not going to see a lot of movement here in the actual shoulder piece. It's kind of there. It just serves the purpose of looks, and that's it. So nothing crazy there. And we'll go ahead and spin it around and look here at the backpack. And there goes the gun. The backpack, I think this came out to about 15 pieces total because of the construction here and here. it's a decent looking backpack. I'm fond of it. I know it's not like I know not a lot of people might like this design, but I like it. Oddly enough, um, there's not a lot to say about this except for the fact that it's very basic. And I forgot to put the vents there. That was a blatant oversight. Now that I'm noticing it, so my bad. I'll go get those out of the runner and put those in here in a little bit. I thought I put them in. I guess I just put them here and didn't put them there. So I guess I got too much of a rush when I was building this kit. So you know, we all make mistakes, and clearly I made two of them right here. So, but that's okay. I can go back and fix that. Um, Anyway, back on topic, the backpack. It's a very simple design, very simple construction, but I like it. I like it personally. I think it's got a very interesting look. There's not any crazy articulation. These spin 360 degrees if you can get them that way, and they just have this limited range of movement. Nothing too crazy, but I like it well enough. And you know, it's a good backpack. It's solid. It stays where it needs to be. Unlike the Zaku, where it kind of has a little bit of separation. Zaku 2, not the Zaku 3. The Zaku 2 high grade had a little bit of separation here, and it kept coming off. I couldn't figure out why, but it kept doing it. And you're not getting any good real looks here because I keep getting it out of the camera angle. So we'll go back over here. Yeah, on the Zaku 2, there was some separation here, and this one doesn't have that. So I like that this backpack is pretty solid and sticks to the kit very, very well. Moving on forward with this is the panel lining. The one thing I noticed with the high-grade Zephyranthes against the Zaku 3 that I built a few weeks back is that there is a lot of detail here in this kit that you can really bring out, especially with panel lining. If that's all you're going to do, you can really bring out a lot of detail in this kit just with panel lining alone, and that is an awesome thing to see in the kit this old. I know with the Zaku 3, it didn't have any real means of panel lining. It was just very bland and basic. So that was a downside. That was a con. It did suck. What I will say is if you want to get some more detail out of this kit, scribbing, or yeah, I think that's what it's called, is going to be what most of y'all could do, especially here on the legs, because the legs and they don't have a lot of detail here except for in the feet. There's a lot of detail here in the feet, but not so much here in the legs. So you can do some scribbing work and or scribing work, yeah, scribing, whatever it's called, and really pull a lot of detail out of these legs, or add some detail to these legs to give them a little bit more character. And I would highly suggest doing that because this kit is worth putting that level of effort into. I believe, especially being how old it is, it still stands up very well. But like pros, there are some cons. Thankfully, there aren't that many cons comparatively. And so, if we do go back to the legs here a little bit, if there is a pro in any at all, or pro, if there are any cons at all, it's the limited mobility within the legs. And as you're probably seeing here in the left hand of the screen, in the picture-in-picture, I'm demonstrating a little bit of that. And that you're only able to get, some up and down movement here, no full separation or spread. And here at the knee joint, it only goes back so far. And at the feet, you don't get a lot of wiggle room side to side or spinning side to side because it's blocked by these pieces here. So you do get very limited range of motion, especially here at the knee and at the feet. But, outside of that, like I said, it is very stable. It is sturdy. So, keep that in consideration when you're going to look for this kit or you do buy this kit. There were some other nitpicks here, especially right in here at the legs. This little piece, there's 4 of them, right? And so what you have to do here, and I would argue that you really shouldn't have to do this, but you're most likely going to, is that these little pieces slide in, right? But what happens is that that nub mark, even though it looks like it's flush, you need to cut that nub mark off, and obviously you're going to cut the nub mark off, but you need to cut off a little bit of the end here too, because it's still going to sit unevenly at this edge, and it's not going to be able to go in. Now that wasn't the case for these two over here, but it seems there's some inconsistencies when it came to molding these parts. So that might be just a symptom of the kits of this age. But I noticed a lot on the new real grades and high grades, everything was a lot more consistent. Everything was a lot more uniform. Whereas on these older kits, there seemed to be some fitment issues. So keep that in mind when you build this. You're going to have to do some trimming to get these to fit correctly. And one major nitpick here, again, I told you I would go back to this, is right here at the neck. The neck joint is an absolute piece of garbage. And I don't say that lightly either, because I've not encountered a kit yet that requires you to put the neck joint in there loosely and let it just dangle here while you put these two pieces of the torso together. There is a pointed piece in here that's got some grooves on it that when you slide this piece to this piece, it locks it in place. I think that is a very poor design, because what ends up happening is you're fidgeting with this whole piece to get it together to snap in place, and it takes too much time and effort to do that. I think that was a really big missed opportunity to really address how this whole thing goes together. But that is my one major nitpick of this part, if not for the whole kit. Again, another con for this kit is, again, the limited mobility, but here at the arms. For a 25-year-old kit, it's got great mobility, but if you're comparing it to kits from today for 2025, you're clearly seeing that you're getting full articulation from the movement from the wrist up here all the way up to the bicep, or full spinning in certain areas. You get 360-degree spins up here at the wrist, even in the hands. You're getting a lot more articulation and movement in this whole joint, whereas in these 25-year-old kits, you don't get near as much. And though that probably wouldn't have been a con back then, because these were at the time advanced for what they were, there would be a con today when you're building it. So do not expect to get that same level that you'd see out of the high grade Gundam RX 78 GE from Requiem from Vengeance, or the was it the G Quack, or anything like that. You're not going to see that level of detail and articulation and mobility in a kit this old versus a kit that new. So come into this with tempered expectations. Lastly, with the cons, the beam saber. I want to go and get that. It's on the floor right now. And I threw it in the box because I just thought it was an absolute piece of trash. But if you look at this thing, it is an absolute piece of trash. It's just a basic white rod. That's all it is. Just a white stick. No different than this wooden painting stick. Honestly, my suggestion would be to ditch this thing, throw it away. I wouldn't even bother painting it. Ditch it. Toss it off to the side. Go find yourself a kit that you've got with spare parts, and get the beam saber handle from it. Put the pink or red beam inside that, and use it for this kit when you're propping it or posing it. So that way you get a little bit more distinct color profiling, things of that nature. I wouldn't even bother using this hot piece of garbage. It sucks. It's really not worth the plastic it was molded to. So don't use that. I know 25 years ago that was probably like, oh, well, we'll paint that. Sure, you could have back then, but today with what things are, I would suggest not using that. Just go with one that you probably got sitting in a box somewhere and using it for this kit instead. All those things, that does sound terrible. I made it sound terrible, but it really doesn't take away from the overall kit as a whole. I actually do really like this kit. I think it's a great kit, and I want to go over some of the things before I get into my recommendation of this. But I want to go into the things of note. As you see, I've got the beam rifle on here, and I've also got the shield. And 2 points really here. They're basic. They're like 5 pieces each to put together, but they stack real well, stack nicely. This fits on the arm incredibly well, and it stays put. Like, I've had this arm in this position for the past 36 hours. It has not budged. I've been able to position it, and it stayed still. And I know polycaps over a period of time do wear, but what I can say is, compared to other high grids that I've built, and even some real grids for that fact, you see a lot of that. You see a lot of that sagging. It starts to go down slowly. Here, it's been rock solid. It's not heavy by any means, but it is a big shield for what this kit is. But it's a good looking kit, or a good looking shield. Again, they are basic, but I kind of like that about that they're basic, because this is 5 pieces, builds it pretty nicely, put it together, boom, it's done. Same thing with the shield, 5 pieces put together, boom, it's done. Attach it, you're rocking and rolling. What I will say is that getting into the things to note, number 2 is that you will probably want to end up painting this kit. Will I end up painting this kit? Probably not. But my observation is you would probably want to paint this kit, because there are some smaller details that are highlighted and out there to see, that you can really take advantage of and pull out some incredible detail. And in my notes here, I keep mentioning that this is a 25-year-old kit, but if you think about it for a minute, it being 25 years old, there's a lot here to work with. And if you get a tool that allows you to make more panel lining and to get to pull more detail out, or you get those hand drills and make holes and form your own plastic and do all the custom work, you can really make something of this kit even more so than what it currently is. I really think that this kit deserves a lot of love. It is very spectacular. I think painting it alone would add a lot of substance to this kit and give it a lot more detail and a lot more I can't really think of the word, but I would say that I think it would just make this kit stand out a lot more than it currently does. And so that gets into the recommendation of this kit. Do I recommend this kit? I certainly do. I really do. It's not a gold standard by any stretch, but it is solid and it looks great. The gold standard currently right now would probably be the high grade from Requiem for Vengeance, the Gundam RX-78GE. I think that would be the gold standard in high grade builds right now, because of how well that kit is produced and how well the kit is built. But this is a very good kit. It builds up very well. It is solid. It is an incredible little kit. And I think, I bought this kit for roughly around $20, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think it's worth it. I think it's worth getting. I really do. And even more so if it's on sale. Hobby Lobby with their 40% off every other week, or New Type or USA Gundam Store, or wherever you can find it. I really think that you should get this kit, because you're not really losing out on spending $20, and you're going to get yourself a fun kit to build. I think it's going to be, I really think that you'll enjoy it. And that's really where I'm at on it. And so that's it with this review. I think we're done. So I do highly recommend buying this kit, even though it is aged. Now going back to some of the more about the channel, I think for those of you who have subscribed and watched the videos and leave comments, I appreciate that. I think it's great. We are getting closer to that 500 number, so I want to go ahead and make a point to say, the closer we get to that 500 number, the closer somebody is of winning that master grade Sananju Stein Verkala. So I would really, highly suggest more people click on that subscribe button and that like button, so you have a chance to win that kit. It also helps the channel too, because the more subscribers we get, the more people we reach, or I reach, and because it's not a we at the moment. I would like for it to be, but more people I reach, and the more we get this content out there, and the more that I can get some more feedback, and the better I can produce these videos. These videos are going to get better and better over time, so bear with me. I'm still very much learning this whole process, And I feel with each video release, they do get a lot better. And I know this particular part of it is ranting, and I'm going to stop here in a moment, I promise. But beyond that, I do appreciate everybody who does watch, and everybody who does take the time to leave comments and likes and some good feedback. So with that said, I do appreciate you watching this video, taking the time to out of your day to see what I had to say about this kit. I hope you go and buy it. And when you do, let me know what you thought of this kit after you build it, because I'm curious what you think on it. And anyway, I'm done. I'll let y'all get back to it and keep on building, guys. Thank you very much.